We've recently discovered that there are about 35 million people in slavery around the world today. Now, slavery occurs almost any time that someone's made vulnerable and doesn't have the protection of the rule of law. If you want to understand the presence of slavery, you have to understand the presence of corruption in most countries.
We need leaders we can actually believe. Whether they're corporate, governmental, military, have an enormous responsibility. We're talking about people developing a higher level of consciousness than we've had up to now, enabling humanity to actually evolve because we have to.
When we all come together as leaders and people, elders and young, we can make the world the one we want, because no one is free as long as others are not. Let all of us come together to make the 21st century the century of humanity.
Right now, the CNN Freedom Project is shining a light on a region of India where poor girls are being lured from home with empty promises of a better life. Our CNN special correspondent Mohammed Leela was there when police tracked down alleged trafficker.
Sir, we're with CNN. Can we ask you a question? This is what happens when we confront the man they accuse. Answer my question, sir. Were you taking advantage of them?
कोई खरीदा नहीं है हमारी जो होती है सर्विस चार्ज होती है हम 35,000 का सर्विस चार्ज लेते हैं 11 महीने की एग्रीमेंट बेस पे जो हमारे गांव से लेके आते हैं उनको देते हैं 25,000 11 महीने के बेस पे किसी का हस्बैंड लेके आते हैं किसी का फादर भी लेके आते हैं वो भी कमीशन लेते हैं
Police take him inside for questioning and charge him with bonded labor and cruelty to a child.
As you witnessed just there, speaking in business-like terms about the money that's made for each person whose life authorities say has essentially been stolen. That was journalist Mohammed Leela questioning the suspect. And he joins us now as we explore the mindset of these people who buy and sell human beings, girls, so coldly. Mohammed, thank you for reporting and thank you for joining us now. And please explain to us, like in an impoverished community where passing on children like chattel is apparently the norm, what can be done to break this cycle?
Well, Christy, that's a very good question. Thanks for having me on the show. Let me start off by saying something that you know very well. It takes incredible courage for victims of trafficking to step forward. They are oftentimes abused, subjected to violence, subject to threats of violence, and made to feel like there's something less than a normal human being. So for a victim to come forward and share their story takes remarkable strength, remarkable courage. And the young girl in that story that we profiled, this 18-year-old Manju, she deserves a lot of credit. And I think more people stepping forward, that's the answer to your question. You know, for a victim of trafficking to go through a process like this, and facing such cultural barriers where sometimes there's a stigma of coming out and saying, yes, I was trafficked, yes, I was held in captivity. It's a very difficult thing to do. But the more people that come out and speak about it publicly, it raises awareness, it starts a discussion going. And in the case of our series, for example, the more we pushed for answers from the government, we learned that there are actually some measures being implemented to help stop some of these trafficking cases from taking place. So I think, you know, it's a process of starting that discussion and just telling people that, you know what, this is not acceptable behavior.
And you're certainly starting this conversation with your series of reports. And the takeaway here for consumers, you know, for viewers all over the world, you know, watching your reporting on air and online, we know that tea is the most popular beverage in the world. And in your reporting, we see the dark side of this industry. So for consumers, is there a way for us to pressure the industry or to somehow buy slave-free tea? Is that possible?
You know, it's a very good question because there are industry associations and there are groups out there that are working literally with volunteers or staff in these tea fields, in these tea plantations to make sure, A, that the people that are working there are treated fairly, that they're given all of the rights that they deserve, that they're given proper access to food, healthcare, medicine, hospitals, education, all of these things. So there is some work that's being done. I think, you know, as a consumer, the first thing you need to do is don't forget, billions of people drink tea every single day in the morning. Most of us drink it, in the morning or at night before we go to sleep. Question where that tea is coming from. Ask the company that's producing it. Is there a fair trade label on it? Is there an ethical tea partnership involved? Is there an alliance that's certifying that the growers and the people working on these tea fields are being treated fairly? I think that's a good place to start, and especially from countries in the Western world or in the developed world where we import a lot of this tea. It's a legitimate question to ask that we should know where this tea is coming from.
And Mohammed, a final question about policing in India. I mean, it was a police raid that reunited the two sisters who were trafficked to Delhi. It was something that you witnessed and you reported on. But how effective are the police in India to crack down on human trafficking?
Well, here's part of the problem, Christine. You saw this in the clip that you just ran earlier. The people that are doing this, the traffickers, they often don't see themselves as doing anything wrong. You could see the man in the clip, he showed no remorse. To him, it was just a job. He said, well, I don't understand. I got these girls from this village. I got some money. I paid the guy who gave me the girls, and now they're working. In theory, that would all be fine if this was a regular job placement agency, but we know that this is the exact opposite of a job placement agency. These traffickers take these girls and they put them in situations where they're abused, they're raped, they're assaulted, their freedom is taken away, and they can't escape. That is effectively modern-day slavery. So a big part of this is getting these traffickers to understand that what they're doing is not only illegal, it's unethical, it's wrong, and it has no place in the modern world. So that's a big part of the problem. And police can devote as many resources as they have, but when they're dealing with traffickers who are looking for money, are well known, and quite frankly, in a lot of the cases, can skirt around the laws, it's a very difficult challenge for police to catch up with all this. So a big part of this is sort of educating these traffickers and saying, you know what you're doing is wrong, and you will eventually be caught.
It's not ethical, it's wrong, and it's got to stop now. Mohammed Leela, we thank you for your reporting on trafficking in India's tea industry. Thank you, and take care. Once again, the victim at the center of the search Mohammed took part in was from India's tea-rich Assam region. And sadly, he found out during his travels there that girls are simply bought and sold, much like the drinkable commodity the region is so famous for.
This is a story about tea and trafficking. The young girls lured from homes to trains and to a life in captivity. The men who make money selling them. Their parents didn't even have a chance to say goodbye. And those who risk their own lives to save them. How much money do people make when they traffic young girls?
10,000 से 30,000 हो सकता है.
Join us on a journey as we explore the price of tea.
Our special series continues on Thursday right here on Newsstream. We'll have much more after this short break.